Guys, Behavior have released a developer update for August 2022 for things that are changing in the Resident Evil Project W chapter in the coming weeks. So let's go over everything as quickly as we can so you guys have an idea of some of the things coming in the next update. Now, one of the biggest changes coming in the next update is that Behavior are actually changing how much things cost on the Bloodweb. The reason being is because they removed the blood point multiplier you get from perks like barbecue and chili and We're Gonna Live Forever. So because of that, they want to make sure that the changes to the prestige system actually comes with, cheaper blood point grinding. So as you can see here, what they've done is basically changed the prices of every blood point node and reduced it by about 33%. For event offerings and uncommon offerings, they were 3,000 blood points each. Now they're 2,000. And then for your iridescent ultra rares, they are 7,000 and now they're 5,000. You can see all of the different changes there on your screen. Behavior have explained that they believe this will give your blood points more purchasing power. So instead of increasing how many blood points you earn per game, by making everything cheaper, that means when you get blood points from your daily rituals, your tomes, or even blood point codes, those blood points are now even more valuable than they were before. And so that's coming with the Project W chapter. They also want to address camping and tunneling with the update even more so, because they believe it's still not a problem that they have fixed properly. So you'll know that they added borrowed time base kit to every survivor. When you unhook a survivor, you get 5 seconds of haste as well as 5 seconds of endurance. But they don't really feel like that was enough. And I mean, I've talked about this a little bit on my Twitter. Look at this comparison side by side of when I unhook Aaron during hardcore and how much further it gets in front of me. On the left is Aaron with 7% bonus movement speed, and on the right is me. And he's hardly gaining any distance on me during that 5 seconds with the 7% bonus movement speed. So clearly it's not very impactful, and they've decided to make a change to that. So in the next update, they are increasing the duration of both the haste and the endurance stats effects from 5 seconds to 10 seconds base kit, as well as increasing the movement speed from 7% haste bonus to 10% haste bonus. And I suspect that borrowed time will still work the way it does currently and continue to increase those numbers by an additional 10 seconds. So base kit, 10 seconds, with borrowed time, 20 seconds, and you actually move faster as well. Now, in the most recent update, Behavior actually nerfed Mettle of Man by making it so that it now takes 2 hits to proc, but as soon as you do a conspicuous action, it removes the endurance stats effect that you earn from Mettle of Man. They said this was an unintentional feature of what was intended to be a buff to the perk, so they are reverting that change and making it so it no longer grants endurance, it grants a special protection stack that doesn't get cancelled by conspicuous actions, and also doesn't appear to put you into the deep wound status of deep wound state as well. So it's unclear whether or not it will remain 2 hits rather than 3 hits to proc Mettle of Man. But for those 5 people who run Mettle of Man in Dead by Daylight, your perk is now slightly better. Here's some changes coming to Wesker, as well as the perks in the Project W chapter coming forward. So Wesker is already a killer that I think the majority of people agree is very strong in the right hands. Probably an A-tier killer when you master his power. But Behavior reckon that his power is too hard to master in its current state. So they are doing a couple things to make Wesker even stronger, which is a bit of a concern potentially. I guess we'll find out. So one of the things is that if a survivor vaulted a window or a pallet and you hit them as they did that, you would not damage them. Behavior have changed that so that if you are mid-vault, as you touch them, that will count as a hit. Not to mention, if you stand too close to the other side of a window or pallet, then I think in theory you also get hit as well. They're also making it so that the collision detection on the rush is less sensitive than it was before. If you bumped into any small object, it would just cancel the rush immediately. Now, there'll be a bit of wiggle room, a bit of forgiveness. Maybe even you will slide off it a bit like a blight. So not only will it be easier to hit your rushes, but now you will potentially actually hit survivors at windows and pallets as well. Another thing that they're going to be doing is making it so that the actual movement speed whilst you're trying to get your second bound is faster. So they've essentially taken the add-on loose crank, which made it so that you are faster between your bounds, and made that base kit, and then nerfed the add-on a little bit. So it's now 8% rather than 20%. But obviously the effects of the add-on is now base kit, so you don't need to run the add-on as much anymore. Now, because of all this, they are making it so that the survivor collision detection for Wesker's Bound is less than it was before. Before, it was like you were hit by a semi-truck. Now they're reducing the collision detection for the survivors, so you have to be way more accurate with the Bound. How accurate? Yet to find out. Another thing, though, is that one of the really cool things about Wesker's throw, when he catches a survivor and throws them, if he throws that survivor into another survivor, it actually injures both survivors. But what they believed was that it was actually hard to know you got injured from that. So now it'll put you into the deep wound as well in that instance. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy. Wesker, already considered A tier killer by the majority of people, has just received massive buffs coming from the PTB. Here's some perks that are getting changes from the PTB as well. Reassurance was actually my new favorite survivor perk, and Behavior have decided to gut it, to nerf it into the gutter. Now, it's still a very strong perk, but it's nowhere near as strong as before. Previously, you could essentially trigger the perk every 40 seconds, but now they're making it so you can only trigger the perk once per hook state. So that means that you can't yourself keep a survivor on a hook for an additional 3 minutes, and you can't keep a survivor on the hook permanently with another survivor running the perk. Now, you can only use it once per hook state per survivor. And so that means that, you know, if all 3 survivors are running it, then you can increase their hook state by 90 seconds. Awakened Awareness, one of Wesker's perks, basically gave a 2-second aura reading after you've carried a survivor for any survivors within the radius of the perk. They're removing that 2-second lingering aura reading. So now you only see other survivors whilst you're carrying the survivor. And that means that it will no longer work with Lethal Pursuer. This is to address concerns that with Starstruck, it will be way too strong, especially on killers as nurse. So it's a shame that perk got nerfed, because it's nurses that the problem, not the perk that's the problem. And I think we're at this point now where we all agree nurse needs fucking basic attacks instead of special attacks when it comes to her power. Sorry, special attacks instead of basic attacks, so that we don't have to balance perks around nurse, and we can balance perks around the game. That's another issue. Okay, low profile. Absolutely garbage, useless perk. Only activated when you were the last survivor alive. And now it will activate when you're the only survivor that is not been hooked. Like, if three survivors are slugged, then it will activate. If 3 survivors are hooked and you're the 4th survivor, then it will activate. If 3 survivors are dead and you're the last survivor, it will activate. So basically, in this situation where everyone's slugged but you, or everyone's hooked but you, it actually now activates, and it's a really strong stealth perk. So you get 90 seconds of no blood pools, no scratch marks, and now additionally, no grunts of pain. Iron Will effect on top of it. So actually, it's a very, very smart niche perk. Better Than New is a perk that realistically was quite useless. It gave 6% action speed bonus to repairing, healing, chest opening, and totem cleansing for 35 seconds after you healed someone. I believe any survivor you healed got that effect, which was a bit of a useless perk because you didn't get it yourself. What they've done is they've increased it to 16% bonus to healing, chest opening, and totem cleansing and blessing. And there's no duration now. That will apply to the survivor until they are injured. So that will make it way more value than previously. And last but not least, Behavior changed Raccoon City Police Department to split into an East Wing and a West Wing, where parts of the map are blocked off based on which version it is. However, they believe they added a lot too many pallets to the map. Too many pallets for how small of a map it is. So they've gone in and they've deleted some of the pallets. I don't know how many pallets they've deleted. I don't know if it will now be a bare bone map, or whether it will be more balanced. I guess we'll find out in the coming weeks when Project W releases. I believe Project W will release on August 30th. However, this section of the Resident Evil saying in the coming weeks would suggest that potentially, actually, we're looking at a September 6th release for Project W. One of the two is going to be correct. Let me know what you guys think of the developer update and what's your favorite or least favorite change. Catch you on the next video.